Hello, my name is Grian and welcome back to the Building Your Comments series. Last episode was going to be the last, but the amount of support was insane. I've never had over 100,000 likes on any video, let alone 55,000 comments. So if you keep up this level of support, this series could go on forever. Anyway, let's get into today's episode where, of course, we're back inside the crazy world made up of your ideas. So let's get into the first comment today, which I might as well do first since it's in the thumbnail. Savage King says, build the dancing hot dog from Snapchat smiley face, please. So, I love this little guy. I don't know why. I guess he's just one of those funny memes or whatever, but I think he's got a good spot inside the Building Your Comments world. Now, I had to build this guy pretty big and tall and fat if I was going to get all of the details in. It's a pretty simple design for this hot dog, but there's a lot of things like the face and the eyebrows that if I'm going to put them in correctly, it has to be at the right scale. So I started off by making a pretty big hot dog. I've put in some salad and the ketchup and the mustard as best I could, and then topped it off with the top of his head, and then adding in the face the best I could as well. I built him also slightly at an angle because I wanted to try and show him dancing. You know, he kind of puts both his hands side to side, and of course he has those headphones as well. I didn't actually put in any music notes around him, kind of missed a trick on that one, but I made him smile, and then I added the hands that are doing the little side to side thing, and I also tried to angle those correctly to make it look like he's alive, which is very, very difficult when you're building in Minecraft, making something static look like it's moving. Anyway, Savage King, that is the dancing hot dog Snapchat thing, and I think it came out pretty good. So let's move on to the next comment, shall we? And no more memes today. That's the meme of this video done. Green Bee Red said, you should make a slug with a Sonic head. Right, I get it, because the slug is slow and the Sonic is fast. At first, I was like, what is this? I just wanted to make it because it sounds hideous. And you won't be disappointed because I definitely built it hideous. So I started off by making a slug, mainly green, sprinkled with a bit of lighter green in there. I tried to make it look proper disgusting, even adding some glass as slime. It came out pretty well. I mean, you could probably guess it was a slug, but the head in particular is what makes it look terrifying. Now, I thought building Sonic would be an easy task. It definitely isn't. He's got a very angular shape. He's got a really curved looking head, and he's got all those spikes at the back. We're in a cuboid game. Trying to get that very smooth head is not going to be easy. And indeed, it ended up looking rather terrifying. I kind of messed this one up big time. I added some random spikes just sort of curving out the back as best as I could, but I really couldn't capture Sonic as I would have liked to, even though the eyes were pretty promising when I started off this build. Either way, I did my best, and you can definitely tell it's Sonic. It's got the sort of angular nose coming out the side, he's got the ears, but something's just not right about his head. It just doesn't look quite right. Getting that shape was particularly difficult, but that is definitely a Sonic's head on a slug, and it's actually one of the more terrifying things in this world, actually. Ugh. There are some odd abominations. Next up, Rudin Hamuda says, build King Kong on Alolan Exeggutor. Now, I do enjoy comments like this where we go back to old builds and add to them to try and make things interact with each other. I did it with the Mumbo Jumbo Jet in the background, and Where's Wally was actually on this Exeggutor as well, so things are really starting to get out of hand. Now, King Kong is massive, and I wanted to do him justice. Now, building organics is not my thing. Even though most of the builds in this world are organic, building a giant ape on top of a giant Exeggutor was not something I had planned for this Wednesday afternoon when I recorded this video. I did my best to try and capture an ape with the, the different color scheme, but it's really hard to get the proportions right, especially as an ape is particularly bulky, and King Kong is not easy to make, so he does look particularly flat. I could have definitely bulked out his chest a bit. Nevertheless, it's not as bad as it could have been, and I definitely left his head till last because building faces on something this size is always particularly difficult. However, I kind of went for a Homer Simpson-like approach with the mouth, and then having an extra large forehead, and if you kind of see it that way, it looks a little bit like Homer Simpson. I think I got away with it. You can definitely tell what it is. Even though you might not even say it's King Kong, you might just say it's a normal ape, but it is massive and it does dominate the background of the world at the moment. You can see it for absolutely ages. Sweet Sixer says, build a Rufflecopter. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, that means rolling on the floor laughing copter. So, everyone should know roughly what that is anyway, or you can work it out. So, you know Thomas the Tank Engine? There's that white helicopter. I guess that's where the sort of subconscious inspiration for this build came from, because it ended up looking a lot like it once I finished. So I ended up making this giant white helicopter made out of snow with all the bits that a helicopter needs. The only problem is I couldn't make it roll. I didn't really think about it, but you can't really make a helicopter roll because of the propellers. So I just added a giant face that was upside down and very, very happy, then added a couple of arms that wrapped around it and made it kind of look like he was on the floor laughing, although, to be honest with you, he would be spinning round and round and round. Grey TC says, build a flamingo doing the tango while eating a mango. Nice rhyme, and you know what I said about organics? I take it back for this one. Once you see what this ended up looking like when it's finished, you'll see that I actually did a pretty good job on this particular organic, although a flamingo shape was a lot easier to do than the King Kong. And you'll see that his back looks a bit crooked. I will fix that later, but I got a really nice S shape on the neck, and the face came out really well as well. It might be because I actually did biology in university a few years ago, and I ended up doing a little project on flamingos, so I'm pretty familiar with the way that they look and all sorts of biological facts you probably don't care about. So anyway, I fixed up all of the back of the flamingo, and I haven't even gotten round to the mango and stuff yet. So the shape came out excellently, but I had to make it really, really big. Now, that is actually the closest that I could get to a mango. They are 3 different colours, red, yellow, and green, but unless I told you what it was, I don't think you'd figure it out. Now, of course, he's doing the tango as well. So I kind of just put a red dress on the flamingo. I guess that's about as close as I could get. But look, that build actually came out pretty well, especially compared to the King Kong. And I think this is actually the first comment that I've done that is like a little rhyme. So maybe a few more of those might be nice in the world. The Frozen Fireball says, build what's inside Mumbo Jumbo like Mumbo did to you. Hashtag build this comment. Now, I'm not going to build the entire Mumbo Jumbo because that would be such a big project, but I will build his head, and I think Mumbo has now appeared in this world more times than I have, so that's got to be some sort of achievement. What I decided to do... Now, okay, look, I'm not very good at redstone, but what I decided to do was add a redstone brain and just crazy nonsense. I just spammed every block that I knew went in redstone of some kind, piston, daylight sensors, redstone itself, repeaters, and kind of just let it be a massive mess. I should have really put a bit more effort into it and made a clock so the whole thing was moving, but I think it came out pretty well. Carly and Cole said, build an obese Pikachu trying to fit into a Pokeball. I've seen so many Pokemon related comments and I've tried to avoid them because it's mostly the same one, Pikachu catching Ash. But this one actually I think works quite well. So I've built this Pokeball, and building it at an angle when it's open was a bit harder than I thought. But then, once I've got this, all I've got to do is make it look like a Pikachu is stuffed inside here. Now, I didn't actually make him obese, I kind of just made it look like the Pokeball wasn't exactly working, and he was just stuck in there. But making him look like he was sort of overflowing out of it didn't look quite right, so I kind of make it look like he's just squished in there and he's not looking particularly happy about it. But he's got the tail, the ears, and you can definitely tell that that's Pikachu. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much to all of the comments that got chosen for this. There were some great ideas in there, a few monstrosities in there as well, but we'll ignore those. If you want to be featured in the next episode, leave your comment down below and try and come up with something inventive, but please, please, please try and remember that I'm only one man and I have limited time. Please give me something that's doable, don't make me build entire mountains or cities or stuff like that. You've really got to think about it. Try and make it funny, try and make it not necessarily just a role reversal, but I don't know, try and be as creative as possible. And if you're not that creative or you can't come up with an idea, have a scroll through everyone else's ideas and upvote theirs or comment on it or maybe build on it. Don't steal anyone else's ideas, I see it all the time. But you get the idea. There's a few bits of criteria that I look for, and you'll be surprised. There'll be 50,000 comments, and I will still struggle to find 7 good comments. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and goodbye.